So here's 2-8. It is a metric wrench, and one end is for nuts that are 25 millimeters on the flat side, and the other end is for nuts that are 30 millimeters on the flat side of the nuts. We're not given an angle of the offset, but we're told from this center down to this center horizontally is 130 millimeters, and that it is from this measurement line down to this center 30 millimeters, 35 millimeters. So let's go ahead and get started here. So I have my drawing inserted as a reference, makes it pretty handy, and I have a new SketchUp file that I call 2.8 Westland. Go ahead and save it however your teacher asks you to save it, and of course I'm working in millimeters. So I'm going to go ahead and work on this end right here, and so we're going to go ahead and go back to our good friend the polygon tool, and so I'll select it. I'll look down the lower right corner to make sure that it's 6 sides, and I'll just kind of eyeball it and click about right there. And this is showing the radius of the polygon. I need the apothem, so I'm going to tap my option key once, and then I'll go ahead and just click, and the apothem needs to be half of 25, so without clicking anywhere else, I'm just going to type in 12.5 and hit enter. And since this is just a form of a circle, I'm going to go ahead and find the center. So it puts that little center mark in there for us. So now I need a circle, so I'm going to go ahead and click here. Right now it's telling me the sides are 24. I'm going to change it to 50, hit enter. I get a little hint there next to the pencil that it is has 50 sides. I'm going to click, I'm going to pull out, and the radius of that is 20 millimeters, so I just type in 20, hit enter, and I've got that part of the wrench done. So now I need to take my tape measure tool, and let's see, I'll just kind of come over here so you can see what I'm doing. Next thing I'm going to do is just come across 130 and down 35. So I'm just going to grab that center there and pull a guideline out and type in 130, hit enter, and gives that a little tick mark, and then I'm going to snap to it and pull down and type in 35. So now we have our second center mark right here, so I'm just going to go ahead and quickly repeat that. I'm going to make the circle first since it's already selected, and it has a radius of 25, and then nested in there's the polygon tool, so I'll click on it, pull out, need to tap my option or alt key to switch it, get it straight up and down so that it's vertical with the green axis, and then that has a total height of 30 millimeters, so I need 15, which is half of 30, of course. Except I put it in the wrong spot, didn't I? You probably saw that coming. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to just use the move tool. I'm first of all going to select the circle, hold down the shift key and select the hexagon. Now I'm going to type in M for move. I'm going to grab it right there and pull it down there. And so that is now corrected. Now I need a guideline along here, an offset. So again, T for tape measure. And you could use just a regular line, draw one with a pencil and then erase it if you want. But what I like about using the tape measure is that when I let go of it here, it creates a guideline that goes off infinitely. So then I'm going to take and just left click, holding down the left mouse button, I'm going to click and drag up and put in 10, and then grab that center line again, drag down, type in 10, and I've now got this width of 20. So now I can take my pencil tool. It's not pencil tool, it's the line tool. You have to be really careful here, because see how it wants to jump to an endpoint? You want an intersection if you want to be precise. So then I come into here. I don't want it to snap to like a midpoint or an endpoint, I want it to be the intersection of those two edges. Then I do the same thing here. Oh, I drew that line like that. That's okay. We'll just come and erase that in a minute anyways. And then I come up here, and if you want to draw accurately, use your zoom tool or your wheel on your wheel mouse. So let's do some cleaning up now. Oh, well, I've got the line tool. I'm going to go ahead and draw from here just out to there along the red axis. Hit escape, draw from there out to there along the red axis. Hit escape from that vertex to there. And then up here I need to zoom in, be kind of careful, and pull out. I'm just going beyond that edge. I could stop right there if I wanted. So now let's do some cleaning up, some erasing. So that goes, and that goes, and that goes. So there's one end of the wrench. See, there's a lot, that extra line that I drew that I don't need. Then we'll clean up the other end in similar fashion. I'll erase that extra line that I created, and then I'll cut that out, and that out, and this line segment, and that line segment, and that end is done. The last thing we need to do is round off these four tips here, up here, and over on the other end. And they are rounded off by an arc that has a diameter of 3 millimeters on all four tips. Now, if we were using a fancy CAD program like Inventor or Fusion 360, which can work with real circles, we could use the tool called tangent radius, and your teacher's probably familiar with that. However, you can't do that in SketchUp because, again, it doesn't draw circles. It draws polygons with a whole bunch of short little straight edges. So we're just going to have to go ahead and spitball this as best we can, but it'll end up doing a pretty good job. C for circle. I'm just going to put a circle right here for now and give it a radius of 1.5, which is half of the desired 3 millimeters. And then I'm going to use my select tool to draw a selection rectangle around the face and the circle or the edge. Type in M for move, and I'm going to pull it up here, and I'm going to zoom in. Oh, didn't mean to click there, so let's undo that. I'm going to get up here just as close as we can. And that looks pretty good. And if we did it right, we should be able to take and erase this edge, and that part of the circle. And as long as I'm zoomed in here, I'm going to click on that and find the center. So that worked pretty good. So we'll go ahead again and type in C for circle, put in 1.5, then select it. You can also just double click on it, and then M for move, and zoom in. Oh, now see how it's kind of jumping around? And I'll show you how we fix that. What we need to do, I'll just go ahead and park it out there for the moment, is we need to go into our model info. And when we look at it, the default settings are set up for millimeters, which is good. The precision is 0 in decimal millimeters. So let's just go ahead and click it right there, and then let's turn off length snapping, and let's see if that helps. Oh yeah, it's now really nice and smooth. So what you want to do is you just want those two edges to touch, and it doesn't have to be perfect. And then use our erase tool to erase those two edges. Got a little extra one right there. Let's see here. Yeah, see, I didn't quite get it tangent to this line, but that's okay. And so we need to erase the rest of this. So I'll just kind of come around like so. Again, how fast you can drag across these segments is going to be a function of how fast your computer can work behind the scenes. Okay, let's go ahead and get the wrench finished up here. I went ahead and did the other tips, rounded them off. Didn't figure you needed to see that. So let's just go ahead and add some dimensions here. Actually, before I do that, I'm going to take and erase these extra guide points. We don't or guidelines. We don't really need these anymore. But I am going to keep this center line in here for the time being. Let's see. Let's get our center marks put in also. So grab the select tool, and I'm going to grab, now let's see, this is only showing a segment. So this part of the circle right here got exploded, and that happens sometimes when you do some trimming, probably when we did it on the end. So if we try to put in a dimension on this arc, you see it's not a radial dimension, instead it's a linear dimension, which doesn't do us any good at all. Let's see, this here is still connected, right? So I can take this and find the center, because it's the same center. So while I couldn't find the center using this arc up here because it got exploded, this one is still glued together, as is this one. So we're in good shape there. Now we'll come back into our dimension tool. And where do we start? Well, I'm going to start from this endpoint down to that endpoint, and then I want to pull up like this, so it's 130 millimeters, and then again the same point here, the same point here, but this time I'm going to pull out to the right so that it is measuring vertically. Let's see, let's grab, let's say like from this point here down to that point, yep, should be 30 millimeters. So we're good there. Let's do the same thing here. Lots of different endpoints that you could go ahead and grab. Okay, so now let's do the outside radius of these. So that has a radius of 25, and maybe I'll just kind of bring it about right there. And then this one here, okay, see, it's not highlighting an arc. Here it does, and up here it does, so let's just put it up here. We'll just put 20 millimeters there. And let's see, what else do we need? Oh, the tips. So next we come down here and measure this arc, and it says that it has a radius of 2 millimeters, and I know it's supposed to be 1.5. Does that mean I did it wrong? No. Let's go into our model info, and you'll see that the precision is set to the nearest whole number. So it's rounding 1.5 up to 2. If I change it here, see, now it gives me that decimal point. So while all the other dimensions can be whole numbers, that one needs to have a precision of at least 1/10 of a millimeter. I'll go Shift Z again. We'll go ahead and close that up for now. So next I'll go ahead and put a dimension from here down to here, and it tells me it's 20 millimeters, so I can click on that. So I'm going to call that good. Now I'm going to just show you how we can make this look just a little bit different. I'm going to come up here and open up the entity info box, and right now nothing's selected, but if I select this dimension right here, it tells me what the text is. I can change the font, so I could go ahead and change it to say 18, so it's a little bit bigger, and I can change the endpoints from tick marks to arrows if I want to. Now, if I do that to one, I should probably do it to all of them. So it would be tedious to go through and do that one at a time, but as long as I don't mix up my linear dimensions with my radial dimensions, I can change them all at once. So I'll go ahead and select this dimension. Let's see, I've got that one selected. I'll select that one, and select that one, and select that one. And now I've got 4 linear dimensions up here selected, so let's change all of those to 18 at the same time and change them all to arrowheads. And then we can do the same thing for our radial dimensions. So I'll click on 1, hold down my Shift key, click on 2, click on 3. That's all I need. So up here, see, it tells us we have 3 radial dimensions. So we'll change those to 18 and change the tick marks to arrowheads. And so there you go. There is our open end wrench of metric style, and this concludes the 2D drawings unless your teacher wants to assign some extra, or I've included a couple of assignments that you can go ahead and do on your own.